we live in a very troubled world everywhere on this planet. And the realities of this troubled world come to us largely on television screens, through newspapers. And, there is a fear among audiences now that largely on television, they are getting a lot of propaganda. And so there is a aversion to television, to news. There's also this proliferation of fake news. So in that context, in fact, the demand for indie films has really gone up in the last decade or so. And However, in keeping with the demand that has gone up, I think we do not have the kind of infrastructure that should have come into place to host these films. So filmmakers who are making independent films, whether it is in Iran or in India or in Afghanistan, struggle to show the films. Thank God, of course, now there are the OTT platforms, but they too have their own corporate designs. And so it's not easy. So the whole ecosystem for indie films is not easy. But I just want to say that the demand is growing. It is something that shows our social contemporary, reflects our the social contemporary reality around us. It is the stories of ordinary people, their joys and sorrows, told in different ways. The personal becomes the political. You're talking about a protagonist who's living through that particular political turmoil. So all of that really endears to cinema goers. Watched in amazement the whole movement in Iran, Zan Zandagi Azadi, and what the women in Iran were doing and were telling the world, and the way they rebelled against the absolute horrific death of Masha Amini, just a 22-year-old girl. It was a lesson for the whole world. And at the same time, we are seeing what is going on in Afghanistan, what the Taliban is doing to women there. So it was like something, that a lesson that was going out for everybody, saying this kind of, gender, patriarchal gender tyranny will not be tolerated by women. And I mean, everyone, I think, as a feminist in India, as a journalist, as a documentary filmmaker, we were hugely inspired by the images that were coming out of there. And now it's almost a year. I think you're getting into the anniversary of the Masha Amini, the death, her tragic death. And I'm told that again, the oppressions, arrests, and everything have just started again. And, so it's really sad. And it's not just in Iran, it is happening across the globe. It is happening in India, Pakistan, it's happening in Afghanistan, Palestine, Israel, the world over. So I think, there's a lesson to be learned from movements like that, and for indie cinema to pick up on these themes, on the troubles that we are all encountering in our different regions of oppression. It is very important that indie films pick up these and tell these stories. See, we are always told that whenever there is any oppression, the best art emerges from that. We've always been told that the best art, cinema, literature, everything comes out when there is, when a country goes through problems. And what better example than Iran, where filmmakers have continued, despite the regime and its oppression, they have continued to put out, I mean, I just spent one film festival here recently in Bangalore, just watching, gorging Iranian films at the festival. They're just so amazing, one after the other. And the way they managed to make it, way they managed to show it across the world, and the way they are celebrated. How would you describe that? It has come out of oppression, this kind of expression. So I think that will happen this week. A film from Afghanistan, and it's called, I'll just read out the name. It's just come out on an OTT platform on Amazon Prime. It's called We the Women of Afghanistan. a silent revolution. And it's made by Nahid Shah Alimi, and it's going to show on Amazon Prime. So, we expect a lot of films from Afghanistan with what the women there are going through. A lot of indie films, a lot of, a lot of documentary films. It will happen, and the films will be sent out, or they'll be made by exiled filmmakers. As you sit in London and make films on your country from where you are exiled, people will continue to do that, and we will see a lot of good cinema and a lot of fight back with art in this form.